Guys, welcome to the channel. This is Waga, and we are going to continue building our SwiftUI app, our SwiftUI Instagram clone. And what we're going to do today is we are going to build the UI elements that you can see on the screen to your right? Okay, so basically we set up all the code that is required to do this. This is not the user's timeline. This is the timeline of the user's post. We have one user called password, and you can see he put up this image 2 minutes ago, and the caption is "This is awesome." There's an we just used the generic image. I made a few changes from the last video. The last video where we're setting up the backend of this, it wasn't as good. I moved the picture around, made it a bit cleaner, and yeah. So we're going to do this, and I forgot to remove this circle, but yeah, that's what we're going to do. And yeah, and another feature we're going to implement is we're going to implement animation. So when you click on it, you get this red the red icon fills, and then we get the number of likes is shown. And when you unclick, you unlike, so the likes disappear and they're not shown. And you click, and right now currently this is just an empty icon, but when we finish, we're going to put a navigation link on this. It's called bubble right or left, something bubble.right. So we're going to put a navigation link here in a future video where when you click on this, you go to the comment page where you can comment now. And when you click on view comments, you can also see the comments, right? So basically that's what we're going to do in the future. But right now, I did not implement the heart over the image, but in the future, I'm concentrating on getting it as much of the basic features done, and then we can maybe do the prettiness a bit later and whatnot. So yeah, so let's get to work. And the first thing we need to do is we need to come to our components folder, hit Command N like so, and create a new. This is going to be a SwiftUI file, right? So this is going to be a SwiftUI file, and we're going to hit next, and it's going to be called postcard image. Postcard image, and what this will contain is it's going to contain this rounded image here, this password, this time, and I think the caption plus the image, right? And then this too will be in another we'll put it in another component, right? So we'll bunch them into two. Okay, so we could call it postcard image, and we can hit create. And the first thing we're going to import, the thing we're going to import, we're dealing with images, right? So we're going to get our package, which is sd web image Swift UI. We did put it here, right? This second one's SD web image Swift UI. When I was starting off, the reason that there are two is I accidentally installed the wrong one, SD web image rather than SD web image Swift UI. So make sure you have this one, SD web image Swift UI. I showed in a previous video how to do it. So we could get that, and when we get that, first thing we're going to do is we're going to come here and create a variable for our post. The var post is going to be of type post model, if you can remember that. We did that, and we could come to the vstack, and the vstack that we want is we're going to start off with a vstack like so, and in the vstack, the initializer, we're going to have alignment. I am not going to use autocomplete because I just want alignment. And alignment here, we want everything to be put on the left, so that's going to be leading. And we're going to have an h stack, and the h stack is going to have nothing currently, and we're going to have web image like so. And our URL is going to be URL like so, and we are going to reach into, let's get the string here, and this is going to be post dot, what's it called, dot profile like so. So we get the post dot profile, and we are sure it's going to be there. And what we could now put modifiers on it and resizable to make it resizable, and we're going to use the aspect ratio, and the aspect ratio is going to be dot fill like so. And this is going to be scaled, not circled, scaled to fit like so. And the next one is going to be clip shape, and the shape in question is going to be a circle. As you can see, we're doing this at the top, right? This is what we're doing. So and after that, we are going to give it a frame. The frame we want is going to have a width is going to be it's going to be a bit bigger, so it's going to be 60, and the alignment we want is going to be dot center. And if you can look at our image, we have a bit of a shadow, right, with a bit of a radius there. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to say here shadow, and the radius is going to be 3, like so. The color is going to be dot gray, like so. You see, now the problem is color must precede radius. I don't get the point, as in the arguments that should be equal. I don't see why some arguments should be sorted out to be before others. Okay, let's just hit fix. So color must come before radius. That's SwiftUI for you. And after that, we could come down here and have a VStack, and the VStack is going to, inside it, contain we need an initialize on the VStack before we do anything, and this is going to be an alignment, and the alignment in question is going to be dot leading, and our spacing is going to be so minimal. We're going to say spacing like so. Let's make it 4, and we're going to have a text here, and play around with the numbers. Of course, you could make whatever you want. So you could say post dot, we need the username, right? And the font in question is going to be dot headline, like so. And the text in question is going to be, we're going to get our date, or the time rather, and this is going to be we're going to put it in brackets, and we're going to say date, and inside it we're going to have time interval since 1970, and this is going to be post dot date. The reason why this is 1970 is a pretty interesting story, and you should have a look at it. And what we're going to do here is we are going to use our extension, and we're going to say dot time ago, like so. And after that, we want to add the words ago. It will just return 2 minutes or whatever it is, but we want to add ago. So for that, we say space and then quotation, and we put a space first, and then we say ago, like so. And then our font is going to be we want one of the presets, that's sub headline, and we could give it a different color, right? It's you can see the color here is gray and this is black, right? So for that, we would come here and say dot, let's give each a line, right? Sub headline, like so. And we can come down here, let's give ourselves a bit more real estate. Let's close this for now, sub headline. And if we come down here, and after sub headline, the next one is going to be foreground. We need to give it a color, so we could say foreground color, and the color in question, because this is color, we can just say gray here, like so. And after this, we're going to add some padding to the VStack, and for that we could say padding, and we could say dot leading, and this is going to be 10, like so. Of course, we can't check yet because we haven't we can't check our what it looks like, because we this is like the completed article, right? And our app is not yet completed, so we can't check and confirm the values, right? And the next thing we could do is come to the H stack, right? And in the H stack in question, we could add a padding, and we could say add padding, like so, and we want the padding to be leading, like so. And we also want another padding. We could say dot padding, and this is going to be dot top, and this is going to be 16, like so. And after that, now we want our text with the caption, and we could say post dot caption, and the post dot caption, we first want no line limit, so however much you want to bore people with your caption, you will see it all. So we say nil, like so, and we come here and we put 2 padding. We could say padding, and the first one is going to be dot leading, and this is going to be 16, like so. And after that, we're going to double it. We're going to say padding, and this is going to be dot trailing, we want twice as much, so we could say 32, like so. And then now the meat and potatoes of the image, right? We want this image here, and for that we could come after the text, and after the text we could come here and we could copy this line, right? So let's just get the web image and copy it like so, come down here, and we can paste it like that. And the image is going to be in the media URL, right? If you can check your post model, where's the post model? Here's the post model. So it's going to be in the media URL. That's where we're going to get our image. So we come back here and it's in the post media URL, and we're going to say we're going to copy these two lines, right? So let's copy them. It's going to be resizable, and the next argument is going to be, we want a frame, and the frame we want is going to have a width, and the width is going to be from UI screen, not scene, sorry, screen. And this is going to be main dot bounds dot size dot width, like so. And the height is going to be, this image is 400, like so, and the alignment is going to be centered, so we're going to put center, like so. And the next modifier we're going to have is clipped, like so, and we're going to save. And basically that's all this done. Now we need to concentrate on this heart button and this quote bubble, like that. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do next. Component folder, and we create a new component, and we're going to call it postcard, right? It's going to be for the bottom, right? So we could just call this postcard, and we can say post. Have we used postcard somewhere else? It sounds like we've used it. We have used postcard service. Okay, let's just call postcard. Let's just call it postcard, like so. And this will be it. And the first thing we need in postcard, right, is you're going to be using stuff from postcard service, right? Because we want the ability to hook up to the backend and like and dislike, right? So for that we need to look at it at the postcard service, right? Remember we made this in the previous video, or a couple of videos back, postcard service. So here, so what we want is, when we come to the postcard service, to have an observed object. We could say here observed object, like so, and this is going to be var postcard service, and this is going to be an instance of our postcard service, like so. And service, wait, yes, like this. And after that we need we need a variable that we will use to check the animation, right? So for that it's going to be a state variable. We're going to have a state variable, and we could say private var, like so, and this is going to be animate, and this one is going to start off as false. And we need the duration to show our heart, how long it takes, right? And the duration, pick your duration. I'm going to use it's going to be a double. Pick whatever number you want. I'm going to say 0.3, right? It's going to animate in 0.3 seconds. And we need a computed property here, and we're going to say private var animation scale. I don't know if you can tell, which is a CG float, like this. And this is going to reach into the postcard service, and we're going to say dot is liked, and we're going to use a ternary, and we could say 0.6, or it's going to be 2.0. Let me show you the effect. Like when you click on it, if you can look at the size closely, and I've explained it in previous videos, you can see it grows slower, then grows larger. When you click on it, when you like, it grows to twice its size, right? Let's do this. You can see it has increased twice its size. But when you unlike, it becomes smaller and becomes 60% of its size. We could make it more pronounced by making it 0.05. Just play around with the numbers. So basically this is what it's going to check. and determine our what, our the size of our animation, right? When we get to animating, we need to initialize, of course, the post first. So we could say post, which is going to be of type post, let me just spell it correctly, post mod L, like so. And in here we are going to have self.postcard service, postcard service, like so. And this self.postcard service dot post is going to be set as the post, right? And after this we're going to say self.postcard service dot has liked post, right? If you can remember a couple of videos back, I don't know whether it's the previous video or the video before that, we did work the has liked, and I explained what it does. It just checks whether or not to render the button as red, right? If you can go down, is there a button that is already red that comes back? Yeah, we have seen one. Yeah, so this one, that's what basically this function does, and I explained it in the previous video. And where are we? We are in the postcard. Okay, let's go back to the postcard. And so we now come to our body, and we can have a VStack here, and our VStack in question is going to be VStack, like so. And this is going to be inside here we're going to have an alignment, and this is going to be dot leading, like so. And we are going to have an H stack, and the H stack in question is going to have a bit of spacing in between. You can see the spacing between them. So we could say spacing, let's say 15, like so. And we come here, and the first thing we want is we could create a button. Let's create a button, and we could say like so. We're going to omit the label, right? You don't have to say label here, but you could if you wanted. And but if it's optional, why write more code? I mean, surely. Okay, so what we want in the button is going to be we could come here and we could say image, and this is going to be system name. We want the system name will check on whether or not self.postcard service, we will check whether it is liked, right? That's the first thing we're going to check. And after we check, we are going to either put, depending on that, we're going to have hat.fill, or we're just going to have a hat, like so, which has to be in a string. Remember, this is the name of the system name, right? So it's going to check this and decide whether to put the hat or the hat.fill. And let's give it a space so that it knows that it's a ternary, to confuse it otherwise. And we could make it a bit bigger, so we could come here and we could say frame, like so. And we could say width is going to be 25, tab height is going to be 25, alignment is going to be dot center, like so. And we're going to have a foreground color. The button wouldn't, the outline of the button would be red, but the button wouldn't be red. So we need a foreground color, and the foreground color is also going to check the same thing, and we could put it in brackets. It's going to be self.postcard service, and the postcard service we're going to check is liked, and we're going to make it dot red. Otherwise we want it to be let's put a semicolon here, dot red. Otherwise it's going to be dot black, like so. And let's give it a bit more space here. And the next thing we need to do is we need to come to, why is it complaining? Action, okay, seems to be we have too many brackets, and so we can get rid of that one. And here it seems like we do not have the semicolon between the red and black, like so. And if you do that and make sure your brackets align, everything should be perfect, or more or less perfect, right? And the next thing we need to do is we need to give ourselves the button some padding. So for that we could say padding like so, and we need to give it a scale effect, and the scale effect is going to depend on the animate, and we're going to use another ternary, and we could say animation scale like so, and if not we want 1, right? And the animation, there are 4 types of animation. I'm thinking of doing a series on animation. I've been reading up on them and I think they are fertile territory for making a series. Okay, so look out for it. Hopefully by the time I'm releasing this, it's going to be like couple of weeks from now, so I'll have made that also, and you should be seeing it on your screen if possible, if it's done, or if it's not done, it's on the way. So we could say duration here is going to be duration, and after this we could come and we could this is our button. Where does our button end? Our button ends here, right? And it looks weird when we put it like this. Let's just put this brace right next here, and still within the H stack, I believe. Still within the H stack, we could put our second, this quote bubble, and this is going to be image like so, and the image in question is going to be system name, and we are going to use the bubble.write. Yeah, it's called bubble.write. I'm guessing there's also a bubble.left, right? And we could say resizable, and the aspect ratio is going to be dot fit like so, and we could say, we could give it we could just copy this line like so and come down here and paste it like so. And after that we are going to put a spacer so to push everything. When you put a spacer, it pushes, depending on a VStack, it pushes everything up or down, and if you put a spacer here, it will push everything to the left, right? Because this is an H stack, right? So we put a spacer here, it has nothing inside it, and after that we could give it some padding, and we could say dot leading, and this is going to be 16 like so. And our text is going to be dependent, like you see, the text depends on whether you click on it or not. So if you don't click on it, like if it's not liked, there is no text, right? So our text is dependent. So after that, after the, I believe this is the H stack, yeah, after the H stack, within the V stack still, we could check, we could say if self dot post card service dot post dot like count, if this is greater than 0, we are going to have the text, right? We are going to say text, and the text in question is going to be let's come here and say put quotation marks there and say self dot postcard service and dot post dot like count. Like count is going to be an integer, right? And then we put a space in between and we say likes, right? If we can remember, if we can go back to our post model, sorry, it's this button. So we go back to our post model and we can look at likes count. Like count, not likes count. Like count is an integer, so it's going to say 1 likes. Okay, we could put another check so that if it's 1, we get like 1 like, and if it's 2, it's 2 likes. But I felt that is just more additional code. You could write that code and we'll look at it. We'll look at improvements when we did it, when we are done with everything. Right, let's just work on getting things done, and we can go back to our postcard, and so it's just going to say likes regardless of the number, whether it's 1, 2, 3 or 10. Okay, so after our if has been checked, we could have another text, and this text we're going to wrap it in a navigation link later on so that we can go to the comments page, right, when we finally make that comments page, which is a couple of videos down the line, right? So for that we could say dot font, and this is going to be dot caption, and dot caption, and we're going to have padding dot padding, and this is going to be dot leading, right? Let's put them like this so that it can be easier to see, right? And that is basically our postcard. And now we can start thinking. Let's get rid of the preview. Anyway, preview doesn't work with Firebase, so yeah. Oh, you have to, there's a I saw in Stack Overflow how to do it, but it's more additional code. Let's just look at the finalized version. So basically this is what our main page looks like before we put all the code, right? Before we put in the code to show our users posts, right? This is not the timeline, remember, I've said it before. So what we could do first is we need to import I believe we need to import the Firebase auth, right? I'm not sure why we need it. Oh, I've remembered why we need it. Okay, to know which user it is, because we're getting the user post, right? So we need the Firebase auth. I was looking at the code and wondering why are we importing Firebase auth, right? So we need this because we need to know who is there, and for us to know who is there, we might just we need Firebase auth, right? So we need that, and the first thing we need to do is create a couple of variables. Let's first create the we need access to the session, right? So that we can know, yeah, we need access to the session. And why do we need access to the session? I'm not exactly, I can't see the code, but in my notes it seems like I have actually gotten the session. We don't need access to the session, but let's just make it. We do not need access to the session. I don't think we do. Okay, but when I was making the code, it seems like I did include access to the session. So we need the session here. Okay, we don't need the session here, but let's just put it. Maybe in the future, when we're building stuff, when we're further along, we'll need the environment object here. So for that, the first thing we could do is we could put it in a scroll view, because there are multiple posts, right? And remember, we're building this, but we're building to destroy. We will destroy it very, very soon. And the next thing we need to do is we need to come to our postcard, and we could just copy this line, observed object postcard service, like so. So we copy that, we save, and we go back to our main, and we can paste it here, like so. And so we have the post. Actually, we don't need the postcard service. We need access to a state object. I've just forgotten to do it, so we will do it next. So we need state object, and we need here, we call this the profile service because this actually belongs in the profile, but we're just showing it off and to style it in the main, so that before we actually put it there. So this needs to be profile service, like so. This folder is to come here and hit Command N, and we create a new Swift file, and it's going to be called profile service, like so. And yeah, and we hit create, and what this is going to have is just going to have it's going to be a class. Let's give it a bit more space. We come here and we're going to make it a class, like so, called profile service, and this is going to be an observable object, and this observable object is just going to contain, we could say here, published, and this is going to have posts. We could say posts, and this is going to be an array with our post model, and it's going to start off as an empty array, like so. And we're going to have a function in it. We're going to say func, and this is going to be called load user posts, and you can guess where it's going to connect to. User ID, like so, and this is going to be of type string, and our code is just going to reach over to the post service, like so, and we are going to load the user posts, and the user ID is going to be the one we passed in, like so. And we're just going to close it off and come here, get rid of this code, and we could say our closure is going to be posts in, and we're going to come here and say in, not in, this says in, you bloody computer. We could say in, okay, autocomplete is really screwing me over, messing with me. We could say self.posts. We're just going to assign the posts that come into the posts that we created, into the array that we created, right? So we're just going to say posts, like so. And we are going to save that. And now when we go back to our main view, let's go back to main, and it's going to say cannot find profile service. Okay, can you find it now? Have we named it correctly? Profile service observable object. Okay, it's still hung up on an error, but that's fine. That's fine. Let's go back to our code and continue from there. We have a scroll view because, as I said, we have a number of posts, and we could say here vstack like so, and the vstack we're just going to use a for each to loop over them. So we could say for each like so, and we're going to say self dot profile service dot posts. We're just going to go through the array of posts, and for the ID we could just use the post ID like so, and here we're going to use post in, put this in brackets, say post in, and for every post we're just going to take our postcard, and we're going to pass in, it expects a post, right? And we're going to pass in the posts that we are getting back. And since there are two of them, the card image, the image comes before the card, right? So we could say post card image, and this one also expects a post, and the post in question is the post, like so. So if we do this, unless we made an error somewhere and we try to run it, we should see our images. And let's hope the styling gods are in our favor. I changed some styles on the fly from the original, and give it a second. And okay, we are not getting any code here. And I know the reason. Let's continue with our code. I forgot. Okay, first let's explicitly state the navigation title. I read somewhere that if you explicitly state it when you're using a tab bar, it might prevent the error that we are getting. So let's hope the gods are on our side. Like you see, like when you pick this and we come here, we will still get this. So we explicitly state it, right? And not on the vstack. Let's put them on the cut. Let's put them on the scroll view, right? So we put them on the scroll view, like so. We say navigation title, and after that we have the navigation let's just spell it correctly, navigation bar hidden, and this one takes a boolean of true in our case. And what we need actually is the on appear like so is going to, on appear we want to run self dot profile service dot load user posts, and the user ID is going to come from our Firebase. We're going to say auth dot auth, and what we need is the current auth dot current user and dot UID like so. And it might complain. Yes, it's going to complain because we need to guarantee that there is a current user, and then we say dot UID like so. So we needed the on appear. Now if we save it and we run it, hopefully we'll have better luck this time. Cross your fingers. And our code, we should see, should check. Brilliant, and we have our code. And already I can see a few misshapen things. Like I can see this is a bit bigger than we expected, but let's try and clicking on this. Okay, it's not working. Our okay, it looks also misshapen. The reason that our code is a bit iffy is because we forgot to put the action, right? We forgot to put the action to make the button red and whatnot, right? And for that we just need to come here and say self.animate, and we're going to set it to true here. And after that we need to use a dispatch queue. We could say dispatch queue like so, and we could say dot main dot async for async after. Async, let's just spell it out. I can't tell which one we want to use. We could say async after, and we could say the deadline is going to be dot now, and we are going to include the self dot duration, and after that we're going to execute, and the code we want to execute is pretty straightforward, and we're going to stop the animation by setting self animate to false, and after we're done with that, we are going to check if self.postcard service, I believe it's postcard service, so self.postcard service, if self.postcard service if is liked, if it is liked, we are going to do the opposite by reaching into self dot postcard service, if you can remember, postcard service, and we're going to call the unlike method, right? And else we're going to just say self.postcard service, self.postcard service dot like. If you can remember, I believe that's in the postcard service. Isn't the postcard service? There's a like and unlike method. These are the methods that we're going to call, right? So if we do that and we come back, and I think our styling isn't as good as I expected it to be, we could make a few corrections, and let us see what this looks like. Okay, now if we click, it becomes red and we have this one like, but it looks a bit off, but let's leave it at that. At least we have a mock-up of what our timeline would look like. We haven't created the timeline yet. We'll be doing that a few videos down, but at least we have an idea of what it could or it should look like. Yeah, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video.